There have been a lot of people wondering if Diablo 4 would just be a clone to one of its predecessors in the past. And honestly, the main way to figure something like that out is through a game's core and base structure features, which is character progression. Before we dive too deep into this topic, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to stick around until the end of the video to see how you can earn a free copy of Diablo 4 from the Comeback Kids. Why is a great character progression system so important to a game's longevity? A progression system is a way for players to feel progress when they're playing the game. This could be as simple as unlocking new weapons or gaining new levels or achievements. It could also be a bit more complex things like gaining skills, talent points, customizing your character down the line, and unlocking new areas. A solid progression system provides players with a sense of accomplishment that keeps them engaged and motivated, as well as always wanting more. When players get a sense of reward or unlock something new, it gives them a reason to keep playing and keeps them interested in the game. The most common way for a progression system to fail is if it's simply too repetitive or they feel like they have no meaning or end goal. Now, can Diablo 4 fulfill all of these requirements while also creating a game that doesn't feel repetitive? A way of constantly giving you a fresh experience while also not being too RNG heavy? Starting off with one of the core systems in Diablo 4, the Renown System. It's an account-based reward system which unlocks rewards for all the characters on your account, including skill points, potion charges, Paragon points, and also each zone in Diablo 4 has its own specific Renown progression as well. You can progress through Renown in multiple ways, such as unlocking waypoints, completing side quests, finding altars of Lilith, liberating strongholds, completing dungeons, and doing some basic discovery. I think this is a phenomenal addition to the game, and for every single type of player this can apply to. You have hardcore players who want to leg up over the competition with extra skill points and Paragon points. You have completionists who just like to complete the game with it being zone varied. And even for basic players, because honestly it's just such a natural progression system that you'll be completing it as you play the game itself. It also heavily helps replayability in the game with making everything account-wide. I would easily rate this a perfect system because it's fun, unique, engaging, and helps in every aspect of the game no matter the type of player you are. Another quick system that engages in more exploring and discovery while also helping replayability is the altars of Lilith. These stone altars are spread all across the world in Sanctuary, and after you find the altar, it will permanently increase a specific stat for all the characters on your account. This is especially useful for speeding up the boring stages of leveling, which is the early levels for another character. The one concern I have with this system is if you are allowed to spend these however you'd like with each character, because what if my main character is a barbarian and I just dump all these points into strength? Obviously, that would bring zero to little impact on a sorcerer alt that I'd like to play, so I'm assuming that you can invest these points however you like on a brand new character. Now, moving on to what I think is a phenomenal addition for theory crafting and testing out different builds is going to be the Codex of Power. Now, this is pretty much a giant manual that collects all legendary aspects that you've unlocked by completing specific dungeons for the first time. And for those of you that don't know, every dungeon in Diablo 4 unlocks specific legendary aspects for your Codex of Power manual, and there are a very wide variety of aspects, some for offensive, defensive, resource utility, and even mobility. These unlocks also include aspects usable for other classes, by the way, which, once again, I think it's incredible for the game's long-term health and pushing replayability more and more because no one wants to play a game where right when you make a fresh new character, you need to start over every system they have in the game that you've worked weeks or months on previously on your main character. A perfect example of good systems with awful replayability was in World of Warcraft Shadowlands, where you had so many great systems and so many things working for the game, but it started to feel like a chore because it was endless, and the worst part is that you had to start all over on every character you created, which turned 5 jobs a week on your main character into over 20 every week if you wanted to have 1 or 2 alts. And seeing Diablo 4 really honing in on this and not allowing it to happen just feels so amazing and is very refreshing as a player, whether you're casual or hardcore. Now back to the aspects that you unlock, you can actually take these and imprint them on rare and legendary items you acquire out in the open world, which very easily helps you cater to your build with having the choice of power wherever it may need be. Now it is important to note that these powers you can imprint anytime you want aren't the strongest. They are set at the lowest legendary value, which honestly I think is great because it still gives you the want and desire to find specific legendary powers at their best power scale, but it also allows you to test out builds and playstyles very easily whenever you'd like, which for me makes me want to keep playing different builds, different power sets on all sorts of different characters. The only issue I have with this system is that you have the opportunity to make your rare items best in slot with imprinting a legendary aspect on it, because rare items have one more affix than legendary items. I go over this greatly in depth as well as some other major concerns I have with the game overall in this video displayed on the screen. So if you want to learn more, go ahead and check that out. Next up, we have skill trees, which will be very similar to Diablo 2, but overall with a nice facelift. They have gone through tons of variations with this visually, and honestly, I think it's starting to look great. So as you level up and progress through the game, you are able to spend points beginning at a skill or a passive within each cluster. After spending 1 point, you can immediately move on to the next node that is connected to the previous node, allowing for you to focus on using a certain ability or heavily improve it with passives and buffs, etc. What's great is that they even added a search function that will highlight nodes for you to help you even more in finding skills or passives to help finding a bonus to a certain ability even easier. You can respec point by point or refund all the points directly within the skill tree for gold, and the cost and effort to respec will gradually increase within the character's level. So pretty much while you're leveling, it's very important to note that you need to test out as much builds as you possibly can because it's going to be harder down the line, which I can agree with because there needs to be a way for players to dump their gold or else everyone will just be overflowing with gold and rich. Okay, so now I've saved the best for last, the only system in Diablo 4 that I am actually worried about, and it's going to be the Paragon system. Now pay attention very carefully as this can get very confusing fast. Now, this system unlocks at level 50 and will serve as an endgame system. How it works is you will earn 1 Paragon point every quarter of a level, earning 4 Paragon points total per level, up to level 100. So you start at the center of your class board and work outward from there, unlocking tiles with points that you acquire. Now, I love the idea of getting 4 points per level to give you these little micro dopamine hits. But coming from a visual perspective, this thing is incredibly intimidating for beginners. There is a massive amount of directions you can go, and on top of it, there are 5 different tile types total, and each tile type can give a wide variety of effects and benefits overall. There are also even gate nodes which are placed at the edge of the boards, which you can then attach brand new boards to, and then you can move on to that other board. And before you attach the new board, you could also rotate it to optimize which of the 4 gates you'd like to start at. On top of it all, there is also a glyph system embedded into the Paragon board that you insert a glyph into a Paragon tile, and it will give the adjacent tiles a major bonus. We do know right now that glyphs have levels, which can be increased by completing certain dungeons, and increasing a glyph's level increases its radius on the tiles it affects nearby. After all that mountain of information, to me personally, this is a lot to get into. I'm not going to lie, I love the idea of it. I just think that from a fundamental design standpoint, it's way too intimidating for a casual player. I think overall, though, it's a very cool system and they're trying something new, which is exciting. A good progression model is vital for maintaining the player's interest. When they actually work, you can have a game that keeps people coming back for hours on end, but without it, they may not want to come back even after 1 session. Whether you're working on a phone game meant to be played for minutes or a 100+ hour RPG, you must have your progression model fleshed out. So what do you guys think of all these progression systems? Do you think they're hot garbage? What would you change? What would you add? I think we have a pretty solid game, to be honest, on our hands, and I'm truly excited to be making content on it. And if you guys want to see more, please don't forget to consider subscribing. And back to the giveaway, the Comeback Kids are doing a giveaway for a free copy of Diablo 4, so if you are all interested, please visit the link in the description below to find out more details on how to win that. But anyways, that's going to be all from me, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and until the very end, my name's Sky from the Comeback Kids. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!